Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? I hope you're all well. Now, before we kick off with this webinar session, if anybody's having any sort of technical challenges in viewing this session at all, what I highly recommend is to go through the usual kind of, troubleshooting that we all tend to go through if technology doesn't work for us first time around. So if you are tuning in on a web browser, feel free just hit the refresh icon. Alternatively, if you are tuning in on a mobile device, feel free to come out of the YouTube app and then click back on the link that you received for this webinar session, and hopefully everything should be working for you correctly. Also, one thing to note with this webinar session is that live captioning is available. So feel free to hover over onto this YouTube video and you'll see the live captioning icon, which is the letter CC inside of a small box. That is the icon, and you can click on that to toggle it on and then click it again just to take it off. As well. So feel free to use that feature if you wish to do so. Also, feel free to grab yourself a pen and paper just so you can kind of jot down some notes as we progress throughout the course of this webinar session. Okay, I hope everyone's geared up for today. So welcome to this Google Digital Garage webinar session, all about how to build your personal brand online. My name is Rikesh. I'm going to be your presenter, taking you through the course of this session, which is going to last for approximately 60 minutes. So I'll kick off first with just a little bit about me. So I'm a trainer for Google's digital skills program, Google Digital Garage, as the t-shirt says. But as well as that, I'm also a digital marketer. So what that means is I work with businesses to help them to create, but to also grow their online presence in order to attract more customers and clients, respectively, to their business offering. Now, a large part from a business perspective of attracting people to you or to your business offering is typically going to be how you portray yourself, how you set your stall out essentially online. And that all feeds into building out your brand, and kind of branding in general is kind of an umbrella term. And we're going to be discussing that in a little bit more detail in the course of this session. So that's just a little bit about me. Now, I'd also like to introduce to you at this stage my colleague and fellow Google Digital Garage trainer, and that is Tessa. Now, whilst you won't be seeing Tessa on screen, you will see Tessa appearing in the live chat. Now, some of you have already got accustomed to the live chat, which is located on the right-hand side of your YouTube screen. Now, this is your space over the course of this next hour to drop in your comments, drop in your questions, and a combination of myself and or Tessa will be able to provide our thoughts on some of those questions and comments that are coming through. So feel free to get interactive. In order to type away into the live chat box, you will simply just need to sign into your YouTube account, which is very quick and easy to do. So if you do want to contribute throughout the course of this session, feel free just to sign in and then you're able to kind of type away. I know some of you have been getting involved. As I did ask a question at the start, just before we kind of went live, just ask where everybody's tuning in from. I guess that's kind of the beauty of YouTube. So we've got the likes of Brandon tuning in from Montana. Welcome to you, Brandon. We've got Luke tuning in from England, which is where I'm based as well. So welcome to you, Luke. We've also got Nguyen tuning in from Vietnam, as well as Alexandra tuning in from Bulgaria. So welcome to you all. It's great to see that we've got a very much kind of a worldwide audience tuning in for this session. Really hope that you get some value out of today and the time that we have together. Now, this session on Build Your Personal Brand Online is one of many webinars that we actually run as part of a wider Google Digital Garage webinar offering. So if you have a look down below me where I'm pointing, you'll see that there is a video description box. Contained within one of those paragraphs in the video description box is a link to the Google Digital Garage website, which some of you might already be familiar with, because that would typically be the website that you actually book onto these webinar sessions. So if you actually visit the live training tab, you'll actually see a list of the upcoming webinars that we've got available and that are going to be running soon. So feel free just to click on some of them on the different subject titles and book yourself onto them. Some are related to the world of kind of careers. So we've got training sessions that we run on build a CV and write a cover letter, but then also we have some on finding career goals. And then we've also got a lot of kind of digital marketing related topics as well that we cover, such as the likes of get your business visible on Google, which is a topic that a webinar session is going to be ran tomorrow on the 12th of April itself as well. So be sure to kind of check out the website for kind of the most up-to-date information, and be sure to kind of sign up. These webinar sessions, just like this session, is available for you to attend at no charge as well. So be sure to kind of make the most of that fantastic of this kind of fantastic resource. And you'll also find an online courses tab on the Google Digital Garage website where you can look at and complete lots of different online courses to help further your learning and actually supplement the learnings that you do on these webinar sessions as well. There is a course on there on the website that you find called the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, which is a course that has an added bonus in that upon completion, you will actually receive a certificate at no charge recognizing that you've completed that specific Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course as well. So whether you're a business or whether you are just an individual looking to kind of develop your knowledge and get more of a deep understanding as to how businesses and organizations promote their product and or service in the online space, that course will actually give you kind of great clarity with that as well. So check out all the resources when you do get a moment. Just picking up on the last couple of other people who've just mentioned where they're tuning in from. We've also got Laura tuning in from Spain. Welcome to you, Laura. And we've also got Hugo tuning in from Amsterdam. So welcome to you all. So let's have a look at what we're covering in today's session. So in this session, we're first of all going to be understanding what we mean by an online presence and also looking at what we mean by a personal brand. So we're going to be looking at the two distinctions, the distinctions between the two kind of phrases, online presence and personal brand. And crucially, what we're going to be also exploring is we're going to be exploring how to convert our online presence as it is to this day into a personal brand, which is very important to do, and it's very important to evaluate, which is why I'm sure many of you would have are kind of here today, kind of attending this online session, how to build your personal brand online. And once we've kind of spoken about how to kind of make that transition from online presence to personal brand, we're then going to be looking at how do we go about building and growing our brand online. And then we'll finally round off this session by looking at how we can increase our online visibility. Now, before we do that, go into the first part of this session, I want to draw your attention to another resource that we have. So this, as you can see from the title, says free one-to-one mentoring available from Google. So this is a really fantastic opportunity for you or for those of you who are based in the UK. I know some of you are tuning in based off kind of the some of the comments in the chat are based in the UK. So the only requirement to sign up for Google Mentoring is that you work for a small business or a charity in the UK. And if that is the case and you fit this eligibility criteria, then you can actually sign up and find out more information using the link here on screen. I'm sure that Tessa will kind of drop a link into the chat for you as well. This is a fantastic opportunity for you to have that more kind of tailored discussion, because I fully appreciate as well that even on kind of webinars like this, there'll be individuals and kind of individuals representing organizations who'll be tuning in, but because what we kind of discuss is kind of making sure that it kind of hits all the, I guess, the touch points for kind of the masses, we can't necessarily go into kind of fully in-depth tailored conversations. And that's where mentoring comes into play, where you can have that kind of more tailored discussion, speak a little bit more in depth with a mentor, albeit through kind of a video call, but still have that kind of tailored and kind of customized conversation with somebody on the other end of the screen about how to maybe improve your brand and maybe how do I kind of convert my online presence into a personal brand, something that we're going to discuss today. Or it might be elements relating to your business's website or relating to your social media presence as an individual perhaps as well, when it comes to kind of relating that to your small business or charity perhaps as well. So definitely check out this resource if this is applicable to you. Okay, let's have a look at the first part of this webinar session, which is understanding your online presence compared to a personal brand. So let's actually kick off with an online presence and look at what it is. What do we mean by an online presence? So you can see by the statement here on screen, it says your online presence is everything you do online. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So that might actually seem a bit daunting, because when I first learned about this myself years ago, I was like, really, is it everything? So I had to like really kind of question that, but it is everything. And what does our online presence typically include? Well, it includes content that we've created and we kind of put out there. So whether we're posting photos, whether we are posting status updates, whether we are posting videos perhaps as well. So that's where we are kind of actively putting out content. But our online presence also includes content that we are tagged in as well. So this is where we're kind of passively in content. So think about times whereby one of your friends or family member has posted something online with some photos, for example, from an event that you all went to, and then they maybe tagged you in a photo, or whether you are on maybe LinkedIn and somebody's tagged you in like the comment section, or someone's tagged you in an article that they're talking about, whether if it kind of relates to your industry perhaps as well. So that all forms part of your online presence as well as your internet activity you can see here on screen. So things such as the likes of browsing history as well. So this is really important just to be aware of this factor. So our online presence is what is available to people to find out about us right now. So if somebody wanted to Google us right now, they can do that. Now, the way I like to kind of look at an online presence is I like to kind of rephrase that kind of phrase of online presence to the term digital footprint, which some of you might have actually heard of that term. So the digital footprint is a representation of what we mean by an online presence. And I like to use digital footprint because I can kind of envisage it a little bit clearer in that if I take out the word digital for a moment and I say, right, I'd like for you to walk on the beach. Now, when you're walking on the beach, what are you a sandy beach, let's say, what are you doing? You're leaving footprints behind you. You're leaving a trail behind you. And this is exactly what we're doing online. So if I add the word digital back in, we're doing this. We're kind of leaving that trail behind of where we've been, whether it be actively or whether it be passively as well. So what do we do about all of this? What do we do about our online presence? Well, we want to actually take back control of it so that we actually have ownership over our online presence, and we are making sure that what people are able to search about us, search about our organization, is what we want them to see, essentially, as well. So first of all, we actually want to clean up our online presence. So there's a few ways to do this. So one of them is to review your privacy settings. So if you have a social media profile set up on a variety of platforms, pretty much all platforms these days do tend to have a privacy settings section. So you can really kind of go through in depth with all these kind of privacy settings, and a lot of them as well. If you're not sure what does this setting entail, whether you want to toggle it on or off, there's usually like a little question mark bubble that you can click on, and it will give you a bit of information on what this actually means if you were to switch it on or switch something off as well. So it's important to kind of review privacy settings. This is just something which you don't just want to do it once. This is something that you can maybe review at a later stage as well, and just stay on top of your online presence and cleaning up and make sure it's as clean as possible in general as well. You can also kind of delete old posts and profiles as well from platforms that you're no longer on. Even kind of deleting old posts that are maybe not representative of who you are as an individual. I know when I kind of graduated university a number of years ago, I kind of I deleted posts which don't necessarily represent who I am anymore, and even kind of something as simple as untagging myself out of less than flattering photos from kind of my university days. That's something which I consciously made an effort to do. So something which can be time consuming, but once you take that time out to do this, it's something that will hold you in good stead going forward, because that's when once we've kind of looked at our online presence and cleaned up our online presence, our digital footprint, essentially, we can then actually progress on to the next stage in general, which is kind of building out our personal brand. We can also kind of scan third-party content as well. So what I mean by scanning third-party content is this is something where you can maybe just Google yourself. As daunting as it may seem, Google yourself and see what comes up about you. And this is where you can then go into each one of those avenues, go into each one of the things that are searchable about you, and see whether you, first of all, want that to remain. If you do, great, tick it off the list and you're ready to go, find something else. But if you don't want something there appearing about you, then what are the building blocks that you need to put in place in order for you to remove that content or change that or make sure that it's authentic to who you are as an individual as well. So that's kind of a few tips. You can even set up things such as Google Alerts, which will typically kind of send you an email when somebody kind of searches for your name or searches for your name and in relation to your industry or in relation to your business name, for example. And you can have kind of you can have those emails kind of set up on a regular basis where they may come kind of every day or maybe once a week or even once a month as well. And that will just kind of allow you to kind of keep on top of things in terms of what people are finding and kind of searching about you online, whether it be from an individual perspective, but then also from an organization perspective as well. So we've spoken a lot about kind of online presence just now. So let's now move on to that transition period of how does or when does an online presence become a personal brand. Now, before we actually answer this particular question, we actually want to define and look at what do we mean by a personal brand, because that term brand or branding or personal brand, as we got here on screen, can seem quite sort of an abstract word, very kind of generic, one of those kind of buzzwords that people might throw out here and there, or you might have heard of on the television perhaps before. So let's actually look at personal brand first and foremost. What do we mean by it? So you can see here, by definition, a personal brand identifies who you are and how you differentiate from your peers as well. So that's important to kind of just be aware of this particular kind of definition here, because if you kind of look at your if you look at kind of your brand and a personal brand, you kind of are able to kind of differentiate between kind of your products and your skills and strengths, perhaps as well. And your personal brand essentially is how you represent yourself, how you portray yourself as well, and how you differentiate yourselves from the people around you. Or if we're thinking from a business perspective, how you differentiate from your competitors as well, if you want to kind of word it like that as well. And having a strong personal brand can help you even from a careers perspective, because it can allow you to build a career off of what you've done previously as well, especially if you've got something which is very identifiable in terms of who you are as an individual, and also what stands you apart from other candidates who would typically be applying for roles that you are applying for as well. Now, a really good kind of example and kind of reflection that we can do is if we think about kind of people in the public eye who typically have a personal brand, an image in terms of how they kind of set up, in terms of what makes them identifiable and differentiate from their peers perhaps as well. So an example could be the likes of Oprah Winfrey. So Oprah Winfrey is a talk show host, also an actress, also owns her own production company. So that's what kind of the Oprah brand is all about. And also she is somebody who interviews a lot of high profile individuals. But also if in terms of how Oprah as a brand differentiates from peers or competitors, her opinion carries such a weight, so much so that whenever kind of Oprah typically releases kind of a book of some sort, that will typically kind of sell out very quickly, because people want to read, people want to kind of find out what's Oprah's thoughts on this, what's Oprah's thoughts on that, and kind of learn a little bit more about kind of her thoughts, because her opinions carry a lot of weight. And that's kind of all based around kind of the Oprah brand. So feel free to kind of think of maybe one of your favorite actors or actresses, or a sports person, just someone, or a musician, just someone who you kind of know a little bit about already. And then just kind of pick out their personal brand. Feel free to jot it down as well, in terms of what they're about. If you think about the likes of kind of George Clooney, for instance, as well, the George Clooney brand is all about, we speak a little bit more about this in another webinar session on kind of on writing for social media as well, whereby we talk about kind of a handful of words that kind of define your personal brand as well. Something that we'll touch upon later on as well, whereby the George Clooney brand is all about being sophisticated, laid back, and smooth. And that's not just George Clooney as an individual; that's the George Clooney brand. So much so that if you think about the George Clooney brand, George Clooney typically has a kind of a celebrity endorsement to a well-known coffee company as well. So it's important just to kind of think of these different factors, and then it's all good and well looking at kind of these celebrities or well-known individuals in the public eye, but then we want to kind of reflect that upon ourselves as well and think about our own personal brand. What do we want to make sure that is identifiable about us in general as well? So when it comes to a personal brand, we've spoken a lot about how we want to kind of put ourselves out there. But once we do that, what can it lead to? Well, creating a good online brand can actually create opportunities in real life, as you can see it says here on screen. So we've got a couple of examples here on screen. We've got Sarah Ritchie first up. So on the left-hand side, we've got Sarah Ritchie, who is a fitness and wellness coach who has been and has had an online presence since 2010. So with the likes of kind of Twitter specifically, and then moved on to other platforms like Instagram as well. When Sarah started out her kind of, I guess, online presence journey, or her online brand journey, should I say, actually, she started vlogging her fitness videos and kind of putting out her workouts online. And what that has done over time, as people have got to know Sarah Ritchie as the brand as well, is that she is now at a point whereby she will actually get fitness clothing companies who will send her gear to actually wear during her workouts. So for her, she's getting free clothing, which is great. And obviously from the business's point of view, they are actually getting kind of recognition, visibility from Sarah Ritchie, because Sarah Ritchie has grown and cultivated a large audience of people, and then that might lead to other people maybe buying that fitness clothing perhaps as well. So that's kind of one example. You've also got another example here of Sheena Maui, who is a London vegan Instagram blogger. And you can see here, you know, she typically goes to restaurants, reviews foods, and just kind of posts about what she thought of certain dishes at certain restaurants as well. And that's actually led to real life opportunities in that now she will typically get invites to go and dine at restaurants 2 to 3 times a week, which is really great because she doesn't have to cook sometimes, and sometimes she's basically getting food for free. However, one thing to kind of note with the Sheena Maui brand here is that Sheena always says to any restaurants who want her to come and kind of review the food and put a post out on Instagram, is she'll always tell them from the very outset, well, whatever I review, whatever dish that I'm eating, I will post an honest review. So I won't just kind of post a review where she is kind of saying everything's amazing, everything looks fantastic inside, the decor, but also the food's incredible as well. So she'll judge it kind of on an honest level, and that's kind of part of the Sheena Maui brand as well. So that's a few things to kind of remember. Having an online brand is great, but it's something that can lead to real life opportunities off the back of it as well. Now, an online brand is also very, very important if we think about not just kind of from a business or an organization or kind of an individual who's become kind of a personal brand themselves through kind of maybe something like an influence, like you see with the examples here on the screen. But a personal brand also matters from a career perspective as well. You can see that nearly 70% of employers conduct social media checks, which makes a lot of sense because when people typically send in their CV and a cover letter, that's all that an employer or recruiter gets to kind of check. And that's where something like a social media profile is a good kind of port of call for a recruiter or an employer in this with this kind of statistic you can see here, to actually learn a little bit more about candidates, see whether they maybe be the right fit for that organization as well. You can also see from kind of a purchasing perspective as well. Nearly 90% of consumers who age between 33 and 54 trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So it's very important just to be aware of that factor as well. I'm sure many of us do this as well. I myself am the same. Whenever I buy something online, I'll definitely check through the reviews and see what people have been saying. And that will actually sway me in one direction or the other on whether to actually make that purchase as well. Now, when it comes to our personal brand that we have basically, which is basically our online presence, but something which we have tangibly in our own hands, in the sense that we've got control over this now and what we are putting out there. We want to kind of have a kind of an end goal in terms of why are we creating this? What do we want to get out of having our own personal brand online? And that's where having a goal is really, really crucial. You can see here, you've got an image of somebody holding a compass. And if we kind of look at this from a point of view of if you're walking somewhere where you've not walked to before, or you're driving somewhere that you've not driven to before, what do we typically use? We use satellite navigation apps these days to get us somewhere. And that's where we want to where we kind of type in the destination where we want to go. And that's the way to kind of look at kind of a goal. Especially from kind of from what do we want to get out of our personal brand that we've built. We want to have a purpose. So if we look at this kind of in action, we've got kind of the industry of personal trainers here. We've got 3 different types of personal training organizations here. We've got Sarah Ritchie, who we met just earlier on, who is just kind of a one-person business essentially, or brand as well. Then you've also got Lean Fitness. And then you've also got Justin Cooper Fitness as well on the end. So if we look at kind of the goals of these personal trainers, but then also their target audience as well, that's another question that we want to kind of answer here. So if we first of all look at Sarah Ritchie, so the Sarah Ritchie brand, in terms of their goal, it's around satisfaction. So they want to demonstrate skills and expertise, how to use certain gym equipment, how to have good posture when you're doing deadlifts or squats or whatever other exercises that there are. And it's kind of typically kind of short and snappy kind of content because she's posting on Twitter or she's posting onto Instagram or other kind of platforms out there as well. So that's all kind of what the Sarah Ritchie brand is all about in terms of the goal. What is all about kind of satisfaction for her target audience. Now, speaking of target audience, Sarah Ritchie's target audience are going to be the regular gym goers who typically will use the equipment that she is using, and she's showing how to use it correctly and use it to the best of its ability to have the most impact on your muscles as well. And it might be kind of people who are looking at kind of bodybuilding or just generally people who go to the gym on a very frequent basis. So that's kind of Sarah Ritchie's goal, but then also target audience. Now, if you look at in the middle, we've got Lean Fitness. So you can see that their kind of goal is all around quality. And this is kind of based off the fact that they've got a professional website, as you can see with the screenshot here. They've got custom reviews. You've got a section that says what our clients say as well. And they offer more than one service. So as well as personal training, they also offer boot camps as well. Now, this actually feeds nicely into their target audience. So their target audience are typically going to be city professionals who might just be looking for somewhere which is a website in order for them to actually go on to make a booking for a personal training session. Or it could also be groups of friends, or it could be work colleagues perhaps as well, whereby they are looking to work out together. Hence why a service like boot camps works really well as well. So that's kind of typically their target audience as well. And then finally, you've got Justin Cooper Fitness here on the end, on the right-hand side. And their goal is all about kind of credibility, whereby the posts that Justin Cooper puts up are all kind of from kind of a humanizing element. So as well as Justin Cooper being somebody who is a fitness fanatic and likes to train and keep his body in shape, he's also letting you, and generally not just you, but letting his target audience in on what else he has going on in his life as well. So he's able to share moments from his personal relationships and able to kind of share moments from when he goes and dines out with friends as well. And the target audience that he's typically looking to kind of reach here are going to be those individuals who want to incorporate a healthier kind of fitness lifestyle in combination with their current lifestyle as well. So they want to make sure that they want to kind of make sure that they are reaching their long-term fitness goals, but also that they're able to also go out and eat, just like Justin Cooper does. They're also able to do other things as part of their life as well. So that's kind of Justin Cooper's kind of target audience there as well. So that's just kind of explain and kind of showcase how it's important to answer these questions of what's the goal of your brand and who are your target audiences, and you want to kind of have a nice kind of synergy between the two there as well. Now, a goal, when it comes to an individual perspective, when you add it to your profile, it makes a real difference. And you can see here this with this in action. So you got Fatima Alam. So we've got Fatima's LinkedIn profile here. And the one on the left-hand side just says Fatima Allen, Regional Sales Manager. And that's it. There's not a lot to go off there. Whereas on the right-hand side, it says Fatima Allen, then it says Sales Development Leader, scaling global biz dev teams to deliver high-quality inbound and outbound pipeline to closers. Now, that might not necessarily mean a lot to you and me, but for people who are looking to hire people like Fatima, that might really kind of pique their interest and think, oh, yeah, this person actually has a goal, what they're looking to do and what they have been doing in their current role as well. And it just provides a little bit kind of more context. And we'll speak a little bit more about kind of adding things to kind of your profile coming up in just a moment. But let's have a quick check-in with any questions or comments at this stage. I can't see any that are coming through at this stage. So with that in mind, let's actually move on to how we build and grow our brand online, because we've already spoke about kind of transitioning from an online presence to a personal brand. So now let's look at how we go about building our online brand. And that all kicks off with our goals. So that's kind of following on what we've just been speaking about. So we want to decide our goal. What's our focal point? What's our destination? So we've got 3 examples of goals here on screen. So find new job opportunities, find more followers, and find new clients. It seems a little bit kind of thin on the ground. There's not really a lot of information to go off there. So how do we actually make sure that our goal is very kind of specific and very niche? Well, ways that we can use to actually define our goal is to use a couple of sentence starters here. So we've got one here, first and foremost, which says, I want to present myself online like, and then you fill in the blank, because I want to blank as well. So you're actually showcasing in the 2 blanks. One, which is why, how do you want to present, how do you want to come across online, and then why as well. And this should all come from a place of authenticity. It's very important to come from a place of authenticity, because if we are somebody who is pretending to act like this or have this kind of online presence, but in person we're totally different, then that's something which can really put potential audiences, like target audiences, off. So we want to make sure we have a level of consistency flowing throughout our brand and how we present and how we carry ourselves in general as well. You can also see another sentence starter, which is really useful to kind of complete yourself, which is, I will know I have been successful when, or I will know I am on the path to success when. So you can rephrase these however you like as well, but I think it's really, really useful when it comes to kind of getting more clarity when it comes to your goal as well. And the more detail, the better. So if we revisit the goals that we just mentioned a moment ago, I want to find new job opportunities as a chef near Liverpool. Okay, there's more information there. I mean, you can even go a little bit more kind of granular and be like, right, I want to find new job opportunities as a pastry chef near Liverpool, or as a sous chef near Liverpool. So there's a little bit more kind of information, a little bit more detail, which helps to kind of provide that kind of path. Okay, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. You get some more action steps off the back of that as well. I want to find more followers of oboe enthusiasts, or I want to find new clients to buy my pottery aprons, for example, as well. Now, once we've kind of created our goal, we then want to build out our target audience and actually find out who they are. So who do I need to reach in order to make my goal come true? So you can see how goals and target audiences actually kind of go hand in hand. Now that phrase target audience as well, you can change that to target customers, target clients as well. So however you wish to kind of phrase them. So who do I actually need to reach to make my goal come true? And this is where we want to kind of really kind of do a lot of research and do some kind of do some homework and kind of find out kind of information such as, where are they based, for example. My ideal type of customer or my target audience have an account on YouTube, or they have an account on Instagram, for example. And that's something for you to kind of fill out with these kind of dot, dot, dot kind of phrases that you can see on screen. Think about the likes, think about the dislikes as well, because even dislikes kind of help to provide a little bit of clarity and kind of contrast the other way as well, in terms of what they do like. Think about what do they spend money on as well, which is very, very useful, especially from a business or organization perspective. It's nice to kind of know that the answer to that question. Okay, my target audience typically spends money on, and that's something which can give us clarity in terms of how do we then promote our product, how do we then promote our service to that particular individual there as well. Now, how do we get answers to some of these questions and kind of even these dot 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 phrases here on screen? Well, there's some tools that we can use. So if you're based in the UK, I know some of you are based off the live chat as well. A good starting point can be Audience Finder, which is a tool that offers free UK-based analytics, and it provides information on the UK cultural landscape. So this is really useful, especially if you want to kind of run events kind of based off of your brand. This is a really good kind of starting off point to kind of get a lot of information in terms of who could be your target type of audience. And with all of these tools as well, they might not necessarily give you the precise or accurate answers that you need, but it will give you a good starting point, which can then allow you to kind of branch off and actually do your own kind of research as well. And then you'll create kind of the ideal type of target audience for you as well. So you can see the other places to kind of find out more about kind of our target audience, our social media business profiles. You've also got kind of like various social media page insight tools. So if you think about the likes of YouTube, so YouTube has YouTube analytics, so you can actually find out the average watch time of a YouTube video. If you're a business and you've got that as a presence, you can actually find out how long are people watching your videos for. Similar thing with the likes of kind of Instagram. You've got Instagram Insights, so you can find out how many people are viewing your post, what are they doing on there, are they commenting, what are they discussing about as well. And you can also find out through things such as the likes of LinkedIn People Search. So this is useful from maybe a career perspective, so you can actually find out which individuals work in the sector that you want to maybe get involved in as well, and you can look to kind of hopefully surround yourself with those individuals and get involved with their conversations, albeit virtually in general as well. And that's something which can then possibly lead to a real life opportunity, something that we spoke about earlier on as well. Now, specialist platforms can save you a little bit of time and effort. So there are certain platforms that really kind of align both your goals and audiences and target audiences rather. So let's say, for example, we want to meet fellow writers. That's our goal. The audience, the target audience who we're looking for, are writers who are looking to meet up. And a really useful tool for that is a tool called Meetup, or a website / app called Meetup rather. Now, if your goal is to sell homemade jewelry, then your audience would be people who are looking to buy homemade jewelry. Then a fantastic platform is the likes of Etsy, right? Or other platforms such as the likes of Not on the High Street as well could be an option choice for you. And similarly as well, you can see here with another goal of finding building contracts as well. So if you are somebody who works in kind of the trade industry and you're looking to find building contracts, your audience will be people who need building work doing. And a platform for that could be the likes of MyBuilder as well. So that's kind of a few things to be aware of. Now, something I spoke about earlier on, especially when I spoke about the likes of kind of Oprah and George Clooney, is we want to think about what kind of words describe our brand. So you can see some examples here on screen. And this is something which you might not necessarily know coming out the end of this webinar session, but you might just want to kind of think about this over the next kind of few days and few weeks going forward. And you might over time develop maybe just a handful of words, just 3 or maybe 5 words that really describe who you are and what you're about. both from an individual perspective, but also from a business kind of organization perspective as well. And there are kind of other words. These are just kind of a representative example. So things such as you're efficient, you're hardworking, you are trustworthy as well. So that could be if you are kind of thinking about your brand from an individual point of view as well. And from kind of a business perspective, you could be that you are detailed, you are innovative as a business, you are well established as well. So think about kind of some of those words that might be kind of that can be attributed to your brand in times to come, because this is what other people will kind of these will be kind of the words that other people say about your brand in time as well. So now step 3. So we've spoken about kind of setting a goal, thinking about our audience and finding out the information about our audience. Now step 3 is all about creating a handle and a biography as well. So a handle is typically our username online. And we've got an example here of Fatima, who we saw earlier on with her LinkedIn profile. So with Fatima, she might have wanted to use @FatimaAllen as her username, but that wasn't available. So she's actually using something which just kind of helps to still get her first name and surname in there. So she's used a special character in an underscore. So Fatima @Fatima_Allen. I mean, she could have used, maybe if she had like a middle name, then she could have used kind of a letter of that middle name perhaps as well. Try and avoid using numbers when it comes to handles. Just try and keep it kind of words and not too many words, maybe just a couple of words, because you want to make sure the handle is very kind of snappy and very easy to kind of type as well, and very easy to find. So we've got Fatima, who's settled for @Fatima_Allen, and then we've got Fatima's biography here. We've got kind of 3 distinct and different paragraphs, which we'll kind of dissect now. So we've got Fatima's first paragraph, which we kind of bracketed here as an offerer. So what can she offer to other people? So customer service manager from Manchester, based, interested in content marketing opportunities. Okay, that's fine. So this is Fatima, who is a customer service manager from Manchester, but is interested in content marketing opportunities. So that's her kind of offering out there. And this is what she can essentially kind of bring to the table. Now, this is backed up by her expertise, which is in the next paragraph, which says Open University graduate in English literature. And then she's also dropped in a couple of publications, a regular contributor to BuzzFeed and HuffPost community as well. So that's kind of backing up the fact that she is interested in content marketing opportunities as well. And the fact that she's a customer service manager, which is very important to have customer service skills in general as well. And it might be useful, especially in the kind of the content marketing world as well. And then she actually finishes her biography, or bio for short, with something known as a call to action. So this is a prompt for the person on the other end of the screen who's reading that biography to take a particular action. So you can see here it says new ideas or opportunities, email, and then you got Fatima's email address there as well. And you might have actually seen these. You might have actually seen these kind of call to actions in different forms over years as well. So when you see things such as book now, learn more, buy here, you see these kind of phrases not just online but also offline. You can see these things on kind of billboards as well. These are kind of calls to action, because sometimes when we view something, we don't really know what to do next. This is why, if you've kind of watched some of your favorite YouTubers on this platform, you might have actually seen towards the end of the video, they'll say, oh, if you enjoy watching this video, be sure to hit the like button down below, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss when the next video is uploaded, drop a comment down below as well. All of that kind of information is all kind of a call to action as well. But you can see how the whole biography is kind of split up into these kind of segments there as well. So it's important to be aware of this factor, especially if you want to either revisit or actually start writing your biography as well. Now, something very important, not only with our biography, but also our online presence, our personal brand rather, specifically as well, is we want to make sure whatever content that we put out there is that it's consistent, because having content consistency builds trust, as you can see here on screen. So the more that we are able to showcase and kind of be very specific about certain types of content and have certain kind of content which is all related and kind of correlated to each other, that kind of builds a sense of trust, and people start to know what to expect from you as well. Now, we also want to make sure that we're choosing photos that complement our handle, our username. And this might kind of seem very much kind of simple. And you might think, oh, yeah, well, obviously I do that. But you'd be surprised. There are certain kind of brands and even individuals who don't really correlate their handle to their photograph or their profile photo specifically. So you can see with the two images on the end and their handles, they typically correlate. So you've got that health doctor and John the bread maker. They correlate with the images. Whereas the one in the middle, you've got somebody playing the guitar, but then the handle is I love cakes _ do you. I do, by the way, to answer that, if that was a question. But as a handle, it doesn't really correlate with the image of somebody playing a guitar. So you want to make sure that there's a natural kind of synergy between the two there as well. So a good example would be our friend Sheena Maui, who we looked at earlier on. So they've got a relevant handle. So Sheena at Sheena _ Maui on Instagram. You've got relevant photo, which is a photo of Sheena. And then you've got content reflecting Sheena's offering, which are typically going to be photos of vegan food as well. So, so that's something which we want to be aware of. So a really useful kind of activity that we can do kind of following this session just by ourselves, it just kind of give ourselves a little bit of time either to create a handle or maybe change it if we are allowed to do so, depending on what platform that we're on. And then once we've done our handle, we can then actually either rewrite or amend or actually start from scratch in creating our biography, our bio, our short snippet of information that tells people who you are and what you're all about. So you can see here, we want to kind of really kind of lean into speaking about our skills and our strengths and what we bring to the table, even with experience as well, like we saw with Sheena Maui's biography example. And also make sure that whatever we talk about in our biography, it's what our target audience wants to hear. So it might be certain words, it might be certain phrases as well, and see how we can kind of word that into our bio as well. And one thing to note with our biography is that we only have a finite amount of space to actually write it. So we want to make sure it's short and concise. So a really useful way to make sure that we actually shorten this down is, first of all, write everything out that we want to get out there about us. So it might be really long, it might even be a page long, but then we can go back to it and revisit it and trim it down. And what we can also perhaps even do, as you can see with step 3 here, is just kind of set ourselves a time limit of maybe 4 minutes. Write out everything that we want to get across and make sure that we are kind of writing within a short, concise space as well, in terms of certain number of characters, for instance, as well. And that's something that can really help to make sure that we're short, sharp, and concise and to the point with our biography. So with that in mind, let's have a check-in on any questions, which I can't see at this stage. So if there are any kind of final questions, pop them into the chat. And as I mentioned at the top of this session, if there are any questions, either myself and or Tessa will be able to provide our thoughts on them as we go along. So now that we've spoken about transitioning from an online presence to a personal brand and how we go about building and growing our personal brand that we've kind of transitioned to, how do we generally kind of increase our online visibility? Because it's all good and well having our brand out there, but we want to get people coming to us, especially our target audiences. So how do we go about doing that? So in terms of kind of a career perspective, we can increase the chance of people finding us on LinkedIn by simply completing our profile. As kind of very simple as it does sound sometimes, we want to kind of make sure that we fill in all the sections. We can also look to kind of ask people to endorse us if we've worked with somebody in a previous job role or another or a previous company. We can ask them to endorse us for certain skill sets. We can ask them to give us a recommendation, which can just be either a short 1 paragraph or a short 1 sentence to kind of say, yes, this person is fantastic at what they this particular role, or in their kind of in the role that they've worked in previously as well. And this kind of works in from kind of a two-way street point of view as well, in that you can actually endorse other people that you've worked with and give them recommendations as well. And what this does, similar to what we looked at with that statistic, in that, you know, nearly 90% of us kind of place a lot of reliance upon kind of online reviews. it's kind of a similar way here, even if we think about kind of LinkedIn, because things such as endorsements and things such as recommendations, these are still kind of in a way kind of reviews, because other people are vouching for you as an individual as well. So that's kind of a few things to remember, to kind of be aware of when it comes to our LinkedIn profile, and also kind of link through to kind of other profiles if you feel it's relevant to your profile and other and other kind of projects and tasks that you might have worked on as well. Now, in terms of tips to grow your network, we want to make sure that we're posting unique, high quality content, putting it out there. I think it's important as well to kind of connect with our audience as well. A really great and simple way to connect with our audience is when you post something online, somebody maybe drops a comment, is to like it and also comment back. So even if it's just a one word that just says thanks. Ideally, you can say, "Oh, thank you," and then just add that person's name in for the very thoughtful comment, and just kind of interact with them through that as well. And that's bringing that target audience closer to you. And hopefully, one step from a business perspective, one step closer to maybe buying from you, perhaps as well. Be consistent as well when we post online and post on a regular basis, because I'm sure we're all aware when we're kind of posting online, even if we do this from kind of our own social media personal profiles, we can get lost in the noise. If we post something right now, chances are give it half an hour, and that might be quite a few scrolls down the page as well. So that's something to keep in mind there as well. So I've already mentioned about kind of interacting and just kind of connecting with the audience with things like kind of commenting and liking as well. But also kind of be visual with the type of content that we create. So use of images and videos are going to be kind of more eye-catching in general. We'll speak a bit more about kind of images and videos a little bit later on as well. And generally use kind of networking tools to kind of connect. And we've already spoken about one of them in kind of the likes of LinkedIn earlier on as well. So this kind of works, again, from both an individual, from a careers perspective, and also from a business perspective as well. Now, in terms of kind of our online network, how can we use an online network to find new opportunities and kind of real life opportunities? So we spoke about earlier on Sarah Ritchie, we spoke about Sheena Maui, how that's kind of helped them to kind of have real life opportunities. In Sarah Ritchie's case, she's now getting fitness clothing sent to her that she now wears in her workout videos, which is great for her. And then you've also got Sheena Maui, whereby she's getting restaurant invites on a regular basis as well. Now, from a careers perspective, how does this apply to job seekers? Well, from kind of a job seeker perspective, if you have a very filled out and completed LinkedIn profile, you've been getting some endorsements from people who you've maybe worked with previously, who will say, yeah, you're very good at this, or you're very good at that, and then maybe get other people to write you recommendations, say, Rikesh is really good at this, or Tessa is brilliant at this, and a fantastic co-worker, and we worked on certain projects together and it was absolutely fantastic. That's a great way of setting your stall out, because if you think about something like a LinkedIn profile, it is basically you putting yourself in the shop window, but you're doing this online. So it kind of works a little bit at times, a little bit like your CV as well. And there's also even kind of a feature now with LinkedIn whereby you can even, rather than just having a profile photo, you can have kind of like a video, a short kind of video where you kind of introduce yourself. So that's hopefully maybe bringing more people closer to you as well, and even kind of recruiters and employers. That might be kind of the difference between whether they put you onto a maybe pile, or maybe they might put you onto the no pile as well. So there's something to kind of be aware of there as well. And even if we're kind of looking to apply for certain jobs in other industries, we can kind of look to kind of get involved in conversations within the network, within kind of the industry that we are looking to work within as well, and look to maybe acquire and connect with more of those individuals in the industry that we want to work with as well. So that helps to build us up as somebody who is from that world, or is aspiring to be in that world. But also when we get involved with conversations as well, and kind of commenting on certain posts, we are actually building more credibility for ourselves as well. So that's something to kind of be aware of from that kind of aspect of kind of job seeking as well. Now, whatever type of content that we create, the best type of content that we can create is shareable content. So content whereby we think, oh yeah, let me share that with this person or that person. So if you are a business, the best type of content is one where they feel the need to share that with their friends, share that with their family members. And then you're getting even more people looking at your product or service offering respectively as well. Now, a really good kind of, I guess, shortcut way of getting people to view your content is to use images and videos respectively as well. So you can see here with these kind of statistics that when it comes to Twitter, for example, images with tweets typically result in 150% increase in retweets there, if I can get my words out right. You can also see that photos of people's faces on Instagram leads to nearly 40% more likes. Now, it's not just about likes; it's also about things like comments as well, getting people interacting with you as well. So there's kind of different variables here, but we're talking specifically from kind of a visual aspect here, and you can also see from kind of the likes of kind of a video perspective. So live broadcasted videos, you can see here, typically tend to get 3 times more views than traditional videos as well. So that's something to kind of really be aware of, and I'm sure many of us are as well. Now, when it comes to kind of our images and videos as well, what we can do is to start to develop a specific visual look and feel. So much so that if somebody was to go onto one of your social media platforms, they see a post that you've put out there with an image, without even knowing who's posted that, they might say, "Oh yeah, that's Rikesh, or that's a particular company, that's a particular business who's posted that," because they've got a certain filter that they've added on. You know, there's various kind of filter tools out there. You've got the likes of ViscoCam, you've got other tools out there that you can use, kind of photo editing tools that you can kind of add different filters and kind of play around with things such as kind of colors as well. And that's something which, again, creates a sense of kind of familiarity as well. And if we have that if we are consistent with that in how we post with a specific visual look and feel, again, that's something that can build a level of trust with our audience going forward as well. So it's important to kind of think about these factors. And this is something, by the way, is not going to, we don't have to do all of this overnight. It's a gradual process as well. So we want to kind of take our time with this as well. And another way of kind of maybe looking to encourage people to kind of get involved with content and kind of involved in kind of what we've got to say is interactive media. You can see things such as kind of polls and stories and posts and live streams. These are all kind of tools which over time have kind of come into various kind of social media platforms, and we can use these to our advantage as well. I think it's very, very important to very important to kind of add this information and kind of try different types of content, because a lot of the times when people are thinking about what sort of content to create, whether it be social media, whether it be for your website or anything else, people kind of get stuck. And I've been there before myself. So I'm kind of speaking from a point of being there myself, in that we kind of think, what's the right and what's the perfect piece of content that I can put out there, rather than trying things out. So it's important to have that kind of trial and error mindset. Put something out, see if it works. If it doesn't, cool, let's try something else. But sometimes we can sort of get wrapped up in our own minds and think, should I do this? Should I do that? And then you end up not posting anything. So it's just kind of important to just kind of try out different types of content, see what works, see what resonates, see what doesn't, and then you'll be able to kind of use that contrast to your advantage as well. So with that in mind, that's kind of everything up to you in that sense. Think about what kind of content appeals to your target audience as well, and also remember to link that in with your goal. What message do you want to kind of get across, so not only with your biography, but also what you actually put out there content wise. And speaking of content, think about kind of your visual look and feel as well. So with that in mind, I think we're kind of running a little bit short on time with questions. So we kind of roll into our next steps now. So in terms of next steps, I want to draw your attention once again to this fantastic resource. So if you work for a small business or a charity in the UK, you can take advantage of Google Mentoring, which is a fantastic resource available at no charge. Find out more information using the link here on screen. I'm sure that Tessa will kind of drop a link into the chat once again for you as well. So I hope that you found this session useful. If you did, both myself and Tessa would appreciate a little bit of feedback to let us know what you enjoyed in particular. And you've got the feedback form link, which is here on screen. In addition to that, feel free to check out the Google Digital Garage website. Remember, the link's in the video description box below. Sign up for other webinars that are available on other topics that might be useful for you from either a careers perspective or a business and organization perspective, perhaps as well. And also check out some of the online courses that are available for you to complete at no charge on the website. Remember, it's Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, which is a course that upon completion, you will actually receive an added bonus of receiving a certificate from Google, recognizing that you've completed that course, and you receive that certificate at no charge as well. So apart from that, I want to say a massive thank you to Tessa, who I'm sure agrees has been a wonderful chat moderator. So feel free to show your appreciation down below for Tessa, and thank you all for tuning into this Google Digital Garage webinar session, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.